day 77 of the second run of 100 Days Making Comics. I'm Ox, and this is how I tell you how I worked on my independent comic. I never forgot. About a drifter wanted to accomplish one last goal before he could pass along happily. I equate it to The Walking Dead if it was still about intention and purpose and not only about survival. Set in the zombie apocalypse, people are just trying to find a way to live, but the hero has one last thing to accomplish before he can pass along happily. Welcome V to the fold. Got a brand new tapestry yesterday. I think it's going to be working awesome for when I show at cons to have the two to rotate between right now. I'm hoping to do 3-day cons next year and hopefully having... Oh, excuse me. Hoping to have one more tapestry for when I do 3-day cons next year. And I have plans for what that last tapestry is going to be. I think it would be awesome to have the 3 to rotate between, give somebody or people something new to look at each time, and I'll probably expand that and swap between a few of them as I get more issues and whatnot, just so people aren't coming and seeing the same tapestry. I kind of want to find a way that I can do supports for it. I have a couple different ideas. I think the main one's probably going to be PCV pipe. I don't know if is that how you say it? It's whatever. But typically how I hang them is I have that huge cube pieces of the wall frame. I think that'd just be too big and ridiculous to take the cons anymore. So I'm going to look at getting a PVC pipe frame. That should support those easily enough. So let's see what's going on. What else is going on today? Did my Inktober already for today. Planning on doing a few extras, especially just doing the sketch dailies for sure. If you see today's Inktober, you can see where I messed it up, and I just left it alone because I'm trying to get better at inking, not necessarily my designs. So taking a half hour to ink a drawing that I drew out is probably the best way to go about it. I'm just trying to get comfortable, so going back and redoing a whole picture just because I made one little mistake. There are a lot of things that I like about the picture, but there's still a few things that I really don't like about the picture. Yeah, that turned out awesome. So, how I worked on the comic today was I was working on roughs and some more story design or story details for the 5th issue. I was going to get into coloring, but Inktober took a little time, had to do housework and whatnot, so have been putting a few of those things off for a few days, but I just really wanted to thank my parents for helping me get to yesterday's speaking engagement where I met Bernie Burns, and I've been thinking a lot of it, and I think one of the truest things about art is we as artists always have stories to tell. Some of them are easier to say and get the point across, but others aren't necessarily as easy to get. And I think as artists, it's in our best interest to find a way to get that story out. I've heard people say the last few weeks that everybody's an artist. It's just a matter of finding how you can contribute to the artistic society. Many people are good at business management and things like that, and others are painters, drawers, and then there's some that manage books and stuff like that. It's just a matter of finding what section you fit into. And for us all having stories to tell, I think one of the best things you can do is to find what your story is and find a way to tell it. No matter what, if you have to hire somebody to do it, go for it. But nobody's going to care more about your project than yourself. And that's why I'm doing this comic series. It's not necessarily the strongest story I have to tell yet. I didn't want to start out with that one, obviously, because this one, 4 issues in, I've grown a lot, but I didn't want to start out with my best story, because that one I'm going to work the hardest for. And don't get me wrong, I've worked very hard on this story, and it is very near to my heart. The length of this one compared to the other one is a lot shorter. I don't know if I'll do that story right after I get done with this one. Maybe do a few like one-shots or something like that. But that story is definitely going to happen down the road. I would be remiss if I didn't tell that story. I started telling it a long time ago, probably 15 years ago or so. It started out as just this little couple paragraph story I started writing before I would go into work at the grocery store that I was telling you about yesterday. I would go to work at 7 o'clock, so I'd wake up at 6 o'clock and write down a few paragraphs of the story, and do that every few days for a few of my friends that had gone on to college, and I was not at college yet and just hanging around, basically. And they seemed to like it, and then it grew and grew and grew, and I really think I'm positioning myself to do a grand story like that. There's still definitely pieces that have to be filled in and worked out, but for the most part, the outline is done, and how I want to accomplish things kind of seems done. The story is nowhere near written out or structurally sound, but it'll get there. It'll get there in time. One of the biggest takeaways yesterday was hearing all the stuff I've kind of picked up along the way this last year. Definitely hard work being one of those main things. And yeah, last year, the year before that, when I was starting painting, back into painting and all this other art stuff, I would see people talk about hard work and hustling and just think that they were working too hard. I figured it was like a lightning in the bottle type scenario, and you either got picked up or you didn't. And now, with all the work that I've put into I Never Forgot this year, I know that's not true. And I think it's really this 30-year-old attitude where you get to a certain point and you know where you want to go and you have a good idea of how to get there. You're just tripping along the way and stumbling your way into progress. And that's failing along the way too. And Wednesday, when I put up the new spread, it wasn't anything special or anything. And we're halfway through the first issue now, but I didn't want to go a week where I wasn't updating. And updating to Reddit. Like, I was updating all the other sites, but I didn't want to go a week without putting something on Reddit. Because I know 2 gets better, and I know 3 gets even better than that, and 4 looks to be even better than that one. So, if people check my profile and see week by week that I've been posting, and can get caught up on the story that way, or go to the website and find out all that stuff. But I think failure is one of the best teachers, but taking away lessons from everything is one of the biggest parts of it too. So yeah, that's basically what today is. I was going to work some more on the story, probably get into coloring, but I have a lot of work to get caught up on. especially these videos. I have to get those uploaded today. I'm missing about 3 days now, just because my phone was tied up all day yesterday, and it improperly uploaded day 75, so I got the last 3 days, so you're going to get about 3 in a row. Probably 5 hours between each one. But, yeah. It's all going groovy. I don't think I'm getting back to work on the comic yet tonight. I would love to, but I'm going to get caught up on everything else. Hopefully I can get back to working on the comic, but I'm not going to push it, because I've been pushing hard this whole week, and I know I've said this in the past, but I've been working harder this year. Even my easiest day, I worked harder than any of my hardest days last year, and that's still true. Even getting up to do the Inktober, I was going to take a couple hour break when I woke up, but I didn't even sleep in late. Like, I got 6 hours of sleep last night, woke up, and knocked my Inktober sketch out. So, it's little things like that, that are just indicative of this hard work. I really think that my hard work's going to even increase next year, and I think that's going to be a catalyst to push me through next year. I know that 4 has gotten to a point where I like the design. I don't think there's much I can improve on it, but I can make everything more fine detailed and work on getting those looking even better. And I think as the issues progress through next year, I'm definitely going to get more intricate on the design and make everything just look really well. And I'm excited to see how issue 8 compares to issue 4, which issue 8 will be the last one of next year. I'm hoping to do 4 a year. I'm giving 3 months for each issue next year, just so there's one every quarter. I will probably go a little faster than that, but that's what I'm giving it. And that's 2 weeks to work on the issue, and 1 basically doing a Kickstarter and getting the funding to get it printed. So for sure there will be 4 next year. There will be the trade next year early. I believe I'm going to be doing the trade with the 5th issue, so then you can get caught up with the first 4 issues and the 5th, no problem, and it'll be a little cheaper than buying the 4 issues, even though the 4 issues come with the sketchbook stuff, and some of that is somewhat important to the story. I think you'll see that in the 5th issue and know that there's more behind the story, and then if people want to know more, they can go back and catch those up. So I was talking a little bit about how I've worked harder this year than I have last year. For sure, that's undoubtedly true. So when me and my best friend were waiting around last night, we got to talking about 2013 was one of the best years of my life. It also contains one of the hardest moments of my life, with my sister passing away, but everything up to that point was the best anything had ever been. And it started out with a trip in January. It was like the end of January, and me and my best friend decided to go see this show a week before. Got everything lined up, got everything worked out so we could go to it, and took off. And it was much like yesterday, where we anticipated everything going wrong. We were supposed to get a huge blizzard, everything like that. The world was supposed to be turned upside down. We didn't care, we took off. So we went up to Minnesota, saw the show. Everything just went perfect. I mean, we saw Rob Flynn was standing probably 20 feet from us. We got to see Mitch Lurker perform with Suicide Silence for one of the last times that he performed before he passed away. And I can't stress how perfect that day was. I don't even think we really spent that much money doing it. It was just a matter of everything lining up. and we were supposed to get hit with this huge blizzard, and when we left the show at like 2 o'clock in the morning, there wasn't a drop of snow on the ground. We even made it all the way back to Clarion, which is like a 3-hour drive from Minneapolis, and there was still no snow on the ground. Rather than taking another hour to drive him home, I decided I was going to take a couple-hour nap, and then I'd take him in the morning. That 2 hours was enough to coat everything with snow, and I mean everything, to the point where schools were canceled across the state. It was such frigid temperatures, but I had to get my best friend home because he had to watch the kids while his girlfriend went to work. And I had promised, so I'm a man of my word, so I would risk life and limb to get him home. But it was just so reminiscent of yesterday, and this being another immensely great year. I think yesterday took the cake for beating out 2013. 2013 was a year I saw Tenacious D and met Jack Black and got a picture with him. Even though it's a very awful picture, you can tell it's me standing next to Jack Black. And it was such a surreal moment. I also got to see Iron Maiden and Alice Cooper. It was the second time seeing Iron Maiden, and they're coming back in the spring next year, which I'm hoping against odds that I can find a way to figure out to get to there, but I'm just crossing my fingers at this moment because I have no idea how I'm going to make that work. But that was an amazing road trip that paired with the Machine Head show. And there were a few other things in the year that had really worked out in my favor to make just 2013 amazing. But 2015 is really looking to blow it away. There's still 3 months, and they're comparable by every spec and mean. I mean, they both had their perfect day. Like yesterday was that perfect day, comparable to the Machine Head concert for 2013. Earlier this year, I got to meet all of Machine Head and gave them all drawings, that a poster I did for the show, and got tweeted about, and like everything I'm working towards in my art career right now is showing a little bit of fruit for that. And then you had Wizard World, the first con I tabled at earlier this year, which I made my booth back, which was a huge accomplishment for me, just because I wasn't even expecting that. And now I'm posed to do yet another art show later this year and table at one more con, and by the end of the year hoping to have the 4 issues out by Christmas. I mean, how could 2015 not be 2013? So I just want to take another second. I know that I said this yesterday, like, I appreciate you coming to watch these videos and catching up on the progress on the comic. But it really is thanks to you too that I'm striving to make all this work even more, and I really couldn't do it without all the support of my friends and family, and even meeting Bernie last night. Like, it was just because things lined up well enough to make it work. But yeah, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all of that. I'll check in with you for day 78 tomorrow, and I will probably be working on the comic all day tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll see how many pages I can get colored, and that'll give me a good estimate of how much longer it should take to get issue 4 colored. I have big plans for the sketchbook area for 4. It's going to be an important one, so stay tuned for those details. I should have a lot of them detailed by the end of this 100 days. But again, thank you for everything. I love you, and I hope your weekend starts off very kick-ass, and we rock this one out together.